Okay, we're starting off the day and the video with the Dan cam because I got a lot to say. I did my hands. So, today we're going to change leaf springs on this fine hot rod. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. Tri-5's 55 had different perches than 5 or than 6 and 7, as I have found out. Not that it's ever really been an issue for me, but all of a sudden, I guess I've been doing mostly 56 and 57s. Only did one 55 and I just reused the old stuff. Now on this situation, we have a 55 Chevy on a 56 Chevy chassis. The other thing is leaf springs. This one has, I believe, 5 leaf springs. And the springs I want to use, which came off the Nomad originally, have 6. This one has one crack spring, I believe, and the other ones obviously do not. I have new bushings, so this will go on the front eyelet of the leaf spring. We gotta pull the other ones out. Typically what happens, this obviously goes into the spring itself, and then a bolt would go through there. Well, the bolt ends up seizing in there and you just cut them off. Now, I think these are probably 7/16 bolts, which I'm not gonna have in stock. And I'm an idiot, and it's Sunday. But we'll put some 3/8 or something in there for now just to hold it. These are the rear shackles I got for 56 and 7. Another thing I got, now this, well, this might be a little controversial for some of you guys. I got some lowering blocks, 2-inch lowering blocks. Now, obviously, I was going to be into it for new U-bolts anyways. This came with U-bolts. Here are my thoughts. If I put 6 leaves in here, it'll actually raise it up. But I really actually want to drop this down so it has a, I like nose high stance. For now, it's what I want to do. You can always change it with 4 bolts and it's taken care of. So we're going to end up probably lifting it with those big leaves, but then dropping it with those dropping blocks. And I figure it's a good, I'll have the look I want and the extra load. I mean, this thing's gonna be hauling ass, so you gotta have all that. Now, let's talk why we need 56 hardware on 55. We gotta go next door here. Oh, she's cold out today. Oh, heater's on. Okay, so now, this is the rear section of the factory Nomad stuff, 55. Now, as you can see, the perches were narrower in a 55. They were the exact same as the Leaf. Now, why they would do this, I don't know, but they did. So anyways, when we get under the other car, you'll see the perches are going to be, well, I assume they're wider. I mean, it was out of a 56. I didn't even eyeball it. So that's that. Now, we do need these. That's a little bunged up. But these are going to be the bottoms, where obviously U-bolts will go through and clamp to the axle and the tube and whatnot. So we need this. Where are the leaves? There's one right there. Oh, I left the other one outside actually. I was using it as weight. But you can see, just drag this out. Go to the light. Oh. I was originally going to reuse these. Now I still might do that. If for some reason we got some sort of weird stuff on the frame. I assume it's a 56 frame, which was factory to that sedan delivery. But obviously this is the difference. So it should be, well, that's how it should be. But you can see these are 55 because they're straight for whichever reason. And these are in nice shape. The other one, they're all busted up and junk and all sorts of good stuff. These look to be pretty nice. So we'll get these painted up. Oh man, these are heavy. So we will have to, like I said, I just cut these out with a Sawzall. We'll have to press these out. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. And then these new ones here. Look at that. Right size and everything. So it actually didn't look too rusty, and by the looks of it, the bolt actually was free in here, which is rare. I guess I just assumed it would be stuck. Anywho, I'm gonna bring all this stuff next door, do a little bit of moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6, oh, 7. Wow, this is heavy duty stuff. Oh, maybe it's 6 is standard. Anyway, we'll bring all this next door. We'll get set up on the bench. We'll start taking this all apart. So we gotta take it all apart and paint it. Then we'll start jacking the car up. All right, meow. So we got the car up on stands. Obviously, it's on the frame, so the axle can hang. We obviously want to drop the leaf springs. Just to show you in here, you can see how that those shackles are clearly 56.7 style. And if I had filled in this gas door like everybody wanted, we couldn't have just done that sweet shot. Honestly, those ones probably could have been reused. They don't look too bad. We'll see what happens when we take them out. The one thing you can tell is the leaf is absolutely not centered in the bolt there. So those bushings are sacked out. Now, it's a bit of a goofy design. There's no sleeve that really fits between anything, so you basically put this on. This is for that side because they go this way. But this goes on the frame side, obviously, so you can get to the nut. So you take that and that rubber off, slide it in, then you slide the leaf on, and then you put that and that in, and the other side of the shackle, and then you bolt it up. Pretty simple little process, and on the front obviously just has one bolt. So I think what I'm going to do, we'll start getting this all taken apart, and when this is all being painted, maybe we'll run out and get a few bolts if I can find something. These are the bases. So again, the one on the car, I don't know what it's from, like a Camaro or something, but this has the proper mounts for the shocks. Now I believe, I'll have to look, but this goes inboard, so this would be passenger side. Obviously these are all beat right up, so I will zip those off, and we'll have to weld some new ones on or bolt them on, or what we've got to do. We'll knock the U-bolts out, wire wheel those, hang those to get painted. So we'll get that taken care of. I think the next time I'm going to see you, we'll take these leaves over. I pulled out the little shop press. These are worth their weight in gold. This is like an L tiny one. I'd like to get a bigger one. And if air operated ones, all sorts of stuff. But this does pretty good. Not the best for axle bearings and stuff, but for little things like this, we'll be able to put like a cup on one side, a socket on the other, and just force this thing right out. You can do it with an air hammer and all sorts of things, but we have a press. Let's use it. And then obviously reverso changeo to put the new ones in. Put a socket on, a little hole in the bottom, and push her in. The back ones will just unbolt, and they should come right out. Like I said, they're not pressed in. They just kind of sit in there easily. And these were some sort of a custom job. It's got washers, washer, nut, washer, nut. I guess when you have like a 4-inch bolt and you need a 2.5-inch bolt, you just make it work. So we'll get these set up on the press. We'll be right back. Slight change of plans. Not plan, order. So I pressed the bushings out. Now I assumed it would only be one, and the other one would be like the other, you know, just two that fit in. Someone at some point had pressed in a front and a back, or like a front in the front and the back, so I pressed them up. They came out like nothing, so that's good. And then, I mean, I cleaned this thing up like this. Leaf spring is in nice shape for up here. Up north, stuff rots out, just rots out. And these being the leaves that were from, so the car was originally in like BC, so either A, they were put on and not used for very long and it just sat, or B, this is like just how BC is. Anyway, so I cleaned them up just a little bit with the wire wheel, but I mean, man, coat of paint, these look nice. I don't know if I have any paint, so that's what my issue is. I'm going to take all these apart. I got to run to the store, get some paint, get some bolts, a few little things like that. But if I have some paint, I wouldn't mind putting a little coat on while I do that running around. Yeah, pretty easy. I just used a socket. And I'm started on the press, then I came and knocked them rust out on the vise. But we'll get set up on the vise on the other set. We'll get them pressed out, and then yeah, this is moving right along. The other thing I did, I marked just an F in it for the front, just in case I forget, but the centering pin is not quite centered. It is on the forward side of the spring. So I guess in theory you could put these in backwards. So I didn't want to do that. So I marked them. Alright. Okay, I'll try not to be in the way here, but they're a little tricky. Now, the bushing does have a shoulder on it, so you got to go shoulder down, otherwise you're not going to push the shoulder through the eyelet. I'll try and balance this I'm using the socket as a bit of a catch, and I'm using my little roller to hold the back of it. Of course, I dropped the handle, but let's get it started. Okay. This is just a bottle jack, basically, on a little plunger. Should push it a goodly ways out, if not all the way, depending if I should probably use a deep socket on the bottom. I think I might be bottomed out in the socket. So, oh, and I porked the rubber. But, in the camera, the other halfway in the socket, a little jam there, so we'll head over to the vise and we'll bash it out. Okay, so instead of going to the vise, I just use the, we use this base to kind of grab it, and another socket, because the one socket's stuck in there. The problem was the base I used, being not a deep socket, I think it ran out of travel and porked the socket into the bushing. But it should fall right through, then we'll take it apart. That should be all the way out, I think. Now, the socket's stuck. We have to smash that out. Oh no. Oh, what's going on here? I got it. Nope. I got it. Now, the reason you don't use this to start, after that debacle, the shoulder right there, once you get it past there, you can kind of use it a little easier. Okay, do the other side, and we're done. Of the press. This one had a little stud in it. So that, followed by that. There's my socket. It's like a balancing act. You know, a friend would be handy right now, if I had one. Why is this so twisty? Hang on. Okay, that fought me a little bit. So we got somewhat centered up, hopefully. Okay, so it just broke loose. Now it's going to go real easy. The second starts to get hard. That's when we're in the bottom of the socket there. Loosen that up. Take that out. So now you can see shoulders out. These little things have a little half moon in them, which is nice. Right there. Another socket. Where did I put it? Oh, Phil. Hang on. Re-rig. Okay, so we got her back together. Now the problem is, if this had a bunch of tension on it, I'd be a little more scared, but we'll just double up them sockets. Probably a big no-no in the press world, but we don't worry about that here. The risk is doing this is it could blow out sideways. But I am wearing safety glasses. And it doesn't have a lot of jam on it. This probably could have been that hammer and a vise. There we go. Well, the bushing came out, don't know where it went. There we have it. Let's get these painted. Okay. A little smoking here, but those are the springs painted. They're dry enough to use. We gotta put bushings in them, obviously. But I thought my plan would be is to do one side at a time. That way the rear end doesn't actually have to come out or anything. So I got floor jack under it. Obviously the one spring is somewhat out. Now, that's the back shackle. One broke. But look at how sacked out these bushings are. They no bueno. Now, the other issue I ran into, the rubber sticks in there and they don't come out easy. I had to do it before, you got to torch them and all sorts of stuff. The front, tried to take the bolt out, it broke, of course. That's when I had to torch it, unfortunately, heat it up. It ain't good, so now the leaf is all the way down. Should be able to jam a zip cut in this way with a brand new disc, cut it off, and it'll drop out. Spring arch doesn't look as bad. The other one I think had a broken leaf or something in it, but whatever. The other ones are in better shape. So, yeah. I guess we'll set the camera up and I'll torch that, which is a terrible job because it's smoky and ugly and it's just bad. Bad, bad. Oh, here are... This is the pads that were on it, so you can see it had that style of a shock where it would go through and be a bolt versus the stud. But in the end of the world, other than it put it off to the side, and these tripods like to be out to the front, and that's just what's going to line up. I don't know if you can see or not, but that little hole right there, that's where the shock goes. So, we get these all lined up. Should be able to bolt it in, no big deal. I can lift it up with a floor jack with the block under it. So yeah, hopefully we'll jam through it real quick here. I'm not looking forward to that job, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be terrible, but it'll be fun to watch me struggle. Alright, I got the spring out. Now we get to play around with this. This is the part of hot rodding that sucks and no one tells you about. Well, it actually went way smoother than usual. These things, the rubber just sticks right in there, so a little bit of heat, a little bit of smoke, a little crunchy, comes right out. Actually looks pretty good in there. So now, you know what, let's press a bushing in this thing, it'll hang a leaf. That actually went, I don't want to jinx it because we haven't another side yet, but it went pretty smooth. We're going to do the down up look because the tripod setup like I'm too lazy to change it. So that's our new bushing. Now, I got a socket here, which as you can see the rubber fits in it, but it's going to push down on the shoulder. On the spring I took out, the shoulder was on the inside of the spring towards the outside of the car. So we're going to do it the same way. I don't know if it makes any difference. I can't imagine it would, but that's how it is. So we'll redo it like that. This is the front. So, it's heavy. It's going to want to go in like that. So we'll probably start. Let's get the bushing set in there. And then we'll have to probably use the socket because this little rubber bit will actually have to go all the way through, and obviously we're pushing into a plate. Well, I can't go through that plate. Sorry about that, guys. Let's hope this goes easy. I'm ready for a little win. Not that it's been hard, but it hasn't been fun. Really, oh, we're not out of jacking space either. You want to make sure you get it started, and it goes in square. Well, that went in like unbelievably easy. Wow, that's a nice little win. Okay, that's all that jack has in it. So we'll lift it up. And we'll take that, put that under it. Well, I actually went like by hand. Okay. There we go. Pressed in nicely. I'll go slide this under the car. We'll get the camera set up under there. Maybe we'll do the we'll get the whole meal deal. Then the other one I'll do on my own. Okay, so here's where things get kind of fun. We're gonna go ahead, put this rear shackle in. I like to put just a little bit of grease in here. I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be that stuck all the time. I did put the front of the leaf in, which is a nut and bolt. So if you need me to show you how to do that, go back to Legos. Now we're gonna have to tilt this rear end up because we're putting that block in. So we might as well get that out of the way. Now, the way this goes, pretty simple. We have our piece, and it kind of fits through the frame. Ugh, this is still kind of hot, actually. It should just easily slide through, but of course it won't. It's my life. What's going on here? Can I hammer in there? No, not really. Crease idea wasn't a bad one. Alright, well, struggle with this for half an hour. A little penetrating oil will do. Just because everything has to fit together. So now, leaf spring. Everything with suspension is so heavy. Okay. Whew. So that's in. Now, the bushings. Let's show you that they're different if I could find them. This is embarrassing. Doesn't matter how much I set up the loose parts. So you can see they're different, obviously smaller on the leaf because these tri-5s, like I said, different 6 and 7. Give her a little schmoo. This thing's gonna ride so nice. Right like a Cadillac or a 55 Chevy. Struggle to get down on. Oh, that's still hot. bash it on a little bit. Okay, so what I did was I took it all apart and pushed the bushing all the way in first. Guess it just had something it was unhappy with. But now, let's see if we can take this one. Trying to avoid doing this as many times as possible because it sucks. Okay. And then like that. Where did I put the nuts? Now we're just going to put it together loose-ish. Because I assume, like most suspension stuff, you want to tighten it when the load is on it, like the weight's on it. Like I said, just give it a couple of turns so it won't fall out. Okay, that's one. Where's the other nut? We work quick, camera's gonna die. I do have more batteries, but they're not on the ground with me. Okay. That's on there snug, she ain't going nowhere. Let's go ahead and adjust this just a little bit. I'm trying to work against the clock. So now, you see what I'm working at right here? So that there, I'm gonna put this fine block on the centering pin. Which fits nice, that one's okay. Now, the rear end. The edges slightly. Hopefully it'll just all fit together. You know what I should do is check this block if it fits in the pin. Otherwise I'll have a hole. Oh yeah, that goes good. Okay. And the weight's on it. What do we gotta do here? It looks so easy on the bench. There we go. Okay, rear end's in. Block is in. Camera's still not dead. One U-bolt. Two U-bolts. Proper plate. Shock forward and in. Put on a couple of nuts and bolts to hold it. And I'll bring you back when she's all together. Almost made it before the camera died. But we're in, tight, blocks in, new U-bolts, the whole deal. Now, if we're not happy with the ride height or anything like that, we can always take this all apart. That's the nice thing about brand new hardware. And we can take some leaves out, we can take the block out, we can do all sorts of stuff. Again, I have confidence that this will, one more leaf would probably bring it up, and then the drop block will drop it down, so I'm hoping I'll have like a 1-inch drop, which will be kind of cool. I'm thinking. Anyway, I'm going to take a break. I've been giving her hard here, but when I come back, I think the other side will just be done. Let's be honest, we don't want to watch that a second time over, unless there's something that comes up that's fun, or horrible for me, I'll turn it on. Then we got to weld on some perches for the shocks, which I have in these shocks. They come with them. It's almost like they know. Weld those on, string those up, and then put on the jack stands, tighten everything, and we're done. Oh man, I'm excited to be done. Well, we've let the smoke out of here. I have here's the bracket I'll show you. We've got the suspension, or the car on the suspension, I should say. So I have gotten tight and everything, so that's all good. The one thing I didn't do, this nut really should be a nylock nut. So I put Loctite on it. You know, I could either just put another nut on it, or I mean a nylock nut down the road. I'll have to remember to do that. We have the shock absorber. In. So we got it hanging, and then down there, I really want the light today. So we got a new bracket, or new perch welded on, so it's nice, works good. The kit comes with this, where the shock comes with this. So what I do, I zip cut this section off, and I just weld it on. It's meant to have a hole drilled and bolted on, but you know what? Why use a bolt, like my buddy Whalen Wire says, why use a bolt when you have a welder? That's my big belief. Anyways, I'm going to do the other side. Pretty simple. It goes up through the trunk floor. We have it all secured there. It's not tight, but doesn't rub on anything. Everything's good. I got to double check the other side tight. You can see here. It's all together. Look at that. Definitely these springs are stiffer. So I don't know if, I think it might just be these blocks are going to give us the exact same ride height, but either way, it's all new, and I can live with it. And I got set tires put on those white wheels to match the front off the 57, the summer tires, so we'll put those on. If I have lug nuts, hopefully I do. I just gotta change that stud. But we'll get that taken care of. So when we see it next, it'll be down on the ground with a job well done. Or it'll be tomorrow, and I'll be cranky. Not bad. I thought it would be a little lower in the rear, which it may, I mean, everything's tight, you know, bouncing it down the road a little bit. It may jostle down. It also has shocks on it now. Before it was just so bouncy like crazy. If I hate it, take leafs out until desired ride height has taken effect. But I like it. It's got kind of a nose-high stance. Oh, worked out. This thing definitely fought me hard today. No bones about it. But hey, it was a fun one. No, it wasn't. It was terrible. Doing stuff like that, all that worked. Ultimately, the thing looks the same, but mentally it's got new parts and it looks nice and it's safe to be on the road and all those good things. But that's where I'm leaving this one. So thanks for hanging on. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you like the stance. If you hate it, let me know. If you think it should I raise it up? I'm really hoping it drops down another inch or so. So it's got, right now it's got a flat, you know, kind of vibe. Just a little bit lower in the back. You know, the other thing is glass. Glass probably weighs a fair bit. You know, so I put that in there, full interior, tank of fuel, all that sort of stuff. At my bumper, it might actually work okay. I probably shouldn't mess with it too much. So that's a 275 60/15. Lots of room all in there, and like the tires inset, which is nice. These things were meant to be race cars with those radius wheel wells. Next up, we're gonna tackle the exhaust. So I'm gonna keep the fender well headers. I'm gonna keep those bullet mufflers. I love the way this thing sounds. Everything from behind there will need to be worked on, and we'll have to kind of raise it up just so it hangs a little bit too low. So this was in Josh's 55 Chevy, so I'm not too sure why it hangs down so low. Maybe hit stock mounts, stock motor mounts, something like that. You know, my stuff is moved 3/4 of an inch ahead, but that shouldn't affect the height. So it does hang down quite a bit, so we'll probably cut 2 inches out, keep the elbow into the muffler, chop it from there. Pretty sure I have a 10-foot length of 3-inch pipe in the snowbank, so I'll drag that in tomorrow. And yeah, 2 hangers, some new gaskets, and the exhaust will be done. Isn't it nice about talking about projects when it'll be done before you even started? Anyways, that's it for me for tonight, for the day, for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Leave a comment below. Oh man, this is an actual car.